Welcome, folks, to episode 221 of the High Tech Podcast. This is one of your hosts, William Illingworth, joined by, of course, as always, my buddy, my pal, my friend, my confidant, my comrade,
You're just gonna keep.
I always stop.
I don't like how that ended. It's getting worse per episode. Like, it's not getting better.
I know. I think the one time I got to like 10 things, but everything else always fails. That's the voice of Josh. You're always familiar with that. If you're watching, you already know what's happening. But if you're not watching, you're only listening, then you are not yet ready for our third host. As always, our friend, the Golden Pipes himself, Stephen Miletto. How are you doing today, my friend Steve?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks for having me back. This is fun. It's great to be back and great to talk to everybody. So hello, everybody.
There it is. This is going to be one of those episodes where, and sometimes we do interviews. Josh and I do like the interview and we couch it front and end. But when you've got an old friend like Steve, you just go for it and it becomes everything. And of course,
Will is trying to say is normally we prepare. And this in this episode, we were like, you basically just need to get Steve, me, and Will in a digital room together, and that'll be an episode. So, strap in, folks.
We have already been talking for 22 minutes, and all of it was good, so we just didn't hit record. That's our problem, but you don't always get everything guests abroad. Folks, if you're not familiar with Steve Miletto, make sure you head over to his website, stephenmiletto.com. That's Stephen with a V, not a PH, and Miletto, 1L, 2 T's. Did I get that?
Yes, you did. Very good.
Boom. Of course, that'll be in the episode notes. But
you can also
Steve's podcast.
You can also just go to our episode page and click on the link so you don't have to remember everything Will just said, because we live in the 21st century. So there's also those points. Sorry.
But if you're driving like Robin and you want to remember for later, again, it's Stephen with a V, Miletto, 1L, 2 T's. Thanks. If you are not familiar with our friend and haven't heard our past episodes, make sure to go listen to episode 177, 159, and many others beyond that. We've had Steve on a number of times in the podcast and we've had just such a great time. Today... So, and sometimes some of our past episodes, we've done like old tech. That's fun. Some holiday stuff. We've done 2 different holiday episodes, hoping maybe for 3. We'll see. But today we're doing something I think nobody's ever heard of. Steve, have you ever heard of this? What is it? AI? What's that?
I'm not sure. I'm not, I've not really found much, we're a little slow getting that where I live, and it's I'm not sure.
You still have dial-up, right?
Yes, we still have dial-up. I've got my 386 that I'm going to start firing up here shortly, and
make sure you turn it on. Go make some coffee.
Exactly.
The lawn, then come back, and maybe Google will be up.
Nice.
We're going to get into that in just a little bit, but before we dive into artificial intelligence, the topic du jour, the thing that we all have to deal with at some capacity these days, how's it been? How's it going? How's your podcast, Steve? It's been a minute since we've gotten to talk to you, so what's fresh on the Stephen Miletto front?
Well, I'm having fun. The world's going well, and I'm very glad that soon we will be starting a new baseball season. We'll not go there.
I can't imagine why you say that after the Braves last season, but it's fine. The Phillies lost too, so we're both just sad people.
And meanwhile, Josh is saying, move on.
I'll come back if you would like a moment. You gotta talk.
We're good, believe me, because I definitely don't want to talk about it, and I'm pretty sure that Will's good moving on too. So but it all has been good. I'm now at episode 796.
Holy crap!
No.
Yes.
No.
And so I'm getting closer and closer to 800, which means I'm getting closer and closer to 900, which means I'm almost to 1,000, which I'm hoping to make.
So many episodes.
Do you sleep?
Yeah.
No,
do you only podcast? Blink twice if somebody is holding you in that room. If you're only podcasting.
Actually, I'd like to see all your fingers. Let's make sure you're not an AI. I need you to show me your fingers and wiggle them. He goofs it. He understands. Steve, 796 was October 27th. 795 was October 23rd. 794 was October 20th. When do you do all of this? It's like there's not even a week and you've got 3 episodes out.
Well, basically what happens is I try to post twice a week. And,
Wow.
and
Only twice a week.
I do interviews. Well, there was a time I tried 3 times a week, and I figured out that was not doable if I wanted to stay in a little sane. But I do interviews, and especially in this world now, I promised myself that, because there was a time way back when where I was like 3 months out. So like if I interviewed you and you said, so when do you think this is going to air? And it was, maybe, this time, the end of October. And I said, I think around the end of February, the next year, and I'd get this look from the guest going, oh, okay. And I started realizing, I think I need to stop doing that. And so I've slowly made it so that I'm panicked all the time now, because I only do so many episodes, so many interviews, so that I can not be so far away from when it's going to be posted. And so I've also tried to revert back to a couple where it's just me talking about some things. Like right now, there's a 2-part series on formative assessment. I've been teaching a class on that. And for those of you who are listening, and formative assessment is fun if you don't know what you're doing. But
I love nerds.
Thank you.
Students, are they going to say that? No, nerds. See, formative assessment. Let's talk.
Exactly, man.
About what is your lead time between a recorded interview and a released episode? Like, are you doing it in a week's time, or are you like a couple weeks out?
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yes.
Wow.
And that's why I tell you about, I'm really feeling panic sometimes, because it's like, I know you guys are too young for this, but there was a long time ago, there was this company that was called Dunkin' Donuts, and they changed their name not too long ago to just Dunkin'.
We're not that young.
Yeah, we're not 5. Like we remember Dunkin' Donuts being Dunkin' Donuts.
Nice. I'm glad you remember that, because they also had a commercial that the donut maker would get up and go, got to make the donuts, got to make the donuts. And then go back home, go to sleep, got to go to sleep, got to go to sleep, got to get up, make the donuts. That's kind of what the podcast thing is starting to do to me.
It's starting to feel like, got to record an episode, got to record an episode. There you go. Got to edit an episode, got to edit. Got to produce an episode, got to produce an episode, got to post an episode, got to post an episode.
Exactly.
Josh and I have the benefit, at least, of co-hosting, right? So like we both record, but I edit. He puts up the final. There's some shared. So I don't think either of us feel that necessarily, but I can imagine doing it solo would be a little tricky. We also don't try and do 2 or 3 episodes in a week.
I think that could be also a contributing cause. You know,
think so?
2 to 3 episodes a week.
But that's why you have almost 800 episodes, and we have a measly 220. We're just little babies over here compared to you. Have you figured it out? Do you know how to podcast at this point? Do you think you've done enough?
Well, I'm still trying to learn, how I got to tell you, with all that experience does come a lot of lessons and learning. I tell you that. That's and things I'll never do again, good. And things that I got to figure out how to make this work, and then things that the magic of the difference in the electronic equipment from where I started to where I am now, because like I thought for sure I was going to have all this. For some reason, every sound in the world was being made outside my window, right? And I'm like, where in the world is that coming from? And it's just like, and I'm interviewing somebody from Australia, and to coordinate it, so it's an evening time when I'm talking to them, and so we coordinated our hours and all this sort of stuff. And I thought for sure that I was going to have to ask him if we could redo it because of all this newer equipment. Guess what it did? It blocked.
It cut it all out for you.
It cut it out. Yeah. Yes.
Oh,
it was awesome. It was like, oh my gosh, I was avoiding editing that one for a long time because I'm like, I don't want to.
This is gonna suck.
Yes, and then it did not, and I'm so thankful for the equipment. Thank you.
Josh recently got me on and has been using for himself for some time software SteelSeries GG. It comes with a lot of peripherals, keyboards, mics, etc.
Yeah, it's not made for podcasting, but I use it for a lot of different stuff.
But you can run audio channels through it, and it has AI noise reduction, background noise. So there's like an algorithm in it that works on it. So Josh started using it, and I noticed. I was like, why do you sound different? And then he told me, I was like, I started using it, and I think I sound better. So you know what? You just need those tools, and you find out sometimes the hard way. But that's a useful transition. we talk about it all the time, all the different AIs we're using with the podcast, but we'll start with the podcast and then we'll go broader. Have you used any AI to help you? Are you using it in editing and recording and anything like that? Or is the podcast still au naturel, as you might say?
Yes, the podcast is au natural. And or however you say the words.
Don't worry, you did it better than Will did. Not even
I was just in France, guys.
Nice.
Yeah, but I just got transported there by Steve saying it.
Thank you.
Well said.
Thank you very much. I've been using AI for other things, but within the podcast world, the built-in AI is probably the only thing that I'm actually using, the stuff that's helping with the sound and things like that to block out other stuff. But other than that, it's me doing the show, doing the editing, it's using it as free materials. Now I pay for the podcast and all that stuff and the hosting and all that fun stuff. But pretty much it's, I try very hard sometimes to let things go with editing. And I'm like, sometimes it just bothers me really.
Are you a perfectionist?
I'm really not, but I'm thinking of becoming one because there's certain things that start annoying me. Especially when I listen to somebody's podcast where they don't do any editing, right? And they're proud of it. They say, I don't do any editing. And then you listen to them drink a glass of water while they're talking to you. And it's like, thank you. Yes. I
don't know anybody
I'm feeling attacked right now a little bit. I gotta just check.
I want you to know, because I know you'll listen back to this. Let's find out.
Oh, I can hear it briefly.
Did you hear the glug glug?
Yeah,
it made
it through.
You're killing me. Oh.
I get you though, because the SteelSeries GG thing, the software we started using, I took on because it always drives me nuts. Josh and I have the same microphone. We bought the same microphone on Amazon, and we have fought with volume level. You get it. You tick it a little bit, you play with it. We've fought with volume levels for years. Mine always, unless I practically have this microphone off, which means I have to really choke up on it and be right in front of it. Mine has always picked up the sound of my computer fan.
Oh, wow.
And it drives me nuts. Well, the SteelSeries GG AI noise cancellation thing has cut that out for me. It's pretty good that it doesn't pick up that in the post, in the editing. So that's cool. I get it, but
yeah. That's good. So Steve, are you with you editing with the episodes? I forget this trying to listen to your episodes. Are you big into cutting out? So if there's a lot of either dead space or ums or ahs, are you also cutting that stuff out a lot too in your recordings?
Yes, it depends on the. Did someone say Anyway,
well done.
It depends on what I try and do is make the guests sound fine. All right. Okay. So if there's someone who says something like this, well, and I try and get rid of that type of stuff where it's just a lot of that might happen where they don't realize that they're doing that. And I'll get rid of some of that. I don't always get rid of all the ums and the other noises. It just depends on if it's something that becomes almost like a nervous tick or something like that. And then I might. Yeah, I do try to get rid of gaps. If there's too big of a gap there and stuff like that, I'll try and eliminate some of that so that it makes it flow okay. But I'm not trying to interrupt the flow. It's just that sometimes, you're wondering, say something next, it's or was that the end,
Yeah.
So,
or did we just lag out? Did I lose my guess?
Yes, exactly. Is my guess no longer in Australia? I just asked because I was curious. Will and I have been playing more. And by Will and I mean Will. I don't do any of the editing. But Will has been playing with it. We actually are getting more access to this through the Squadcast tool we're using to do the recording. We've been talking about this on the podcast. I think one of the things I'm seeing in podcasting AI a lot lately is tools that do more of that, can do some of the look through the episode and find dead space and auto cut it for you so that you don't have to cut it yourself and pull it together. Will has seen that happening in some of the Squadcast features we've been seeing. So I was just curious if that's as a podcast that does not edit nearly as much. I won't say edit at all because I don't want to make Steve sad. I I will say that like it's just been a curiosity of mine. Like him and I have talked a lot about here recently with more access to it. Would we start using the features more to actually cut out more stuff? We usually don't have a ton of dead space we're having to cut out. He does cut that type of stuff out when it's in the middle of an episode, but yeah.
I got you. It's and by the way, that wasn't meant as a personal attack because there are plenty of podcasts out there where it is quite annoying where it's like, oh, excuse me while I have my 7-course dinner while we're talking. And
you guys see the cutlery.
Exactly.
They're cutting steak.
It's like, yes, this is brilliant. All right. Or, thank you very much for that interlude.
Or the guest who just like happened to put their camera way too close to their face or like their mic. You gotta figure out a way to edit it so it does not sound like they're chewing every time. That type of thing.
That's funny.
Hey, Josh.
Nice.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I think the podcast listeners will appreciate this. Steve, I was once doing a training over Zoom. This is pre-COVID. So this was like before everybody knew what Zoom really was. We were doing it on Zoom, and I had a guy spend the entire 45-minute training eating a sandwich, like so close to his camera. And I'm supposed to be like very seriously teaching these faculty how to do something. And this guy who looks like the villain from the Hunger Games is over here eating a sandwich, like right up on his mic.
Oh no.
Anyway.
That's awesome, man.
That's what everybody dreams of. So you said you're not using AI much in the podcasting side, but you said you're using it in other contexts. What has those other contexts been for you?
Well, part of it is I was planning on going to Mars, and never mind.
Elon?
Did you take an R2D2? Come on, be real.
Yeah, that's what I'm working on. But so I've been very fascinated by this, and I think I know that was terrible grammar right there, but hey,
I'll edit it out later.
There we go. Thanks. So I say something just totally nonsensical, right? Anyway, one of the things I've mentioned before when we've talked on at some point is that my all-time favorite book is Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yes.
And one of the things that I love right now is that I so wish the writer, Douglas Adams, was still alive because it would be cool to hear his take on AI because it fits so well with a couple of his characters and especially Marvin the android. And and I'm going to screw up this line, but Marvin is known for saying things like, the brain the size of a universe and you asked me to go get tea.
Yes.
And the class I took the other day, I just realized I've been asking Marvin to go get tea, right? The way I've been.
Oh my gosh! Yes. Yes.
It's like, oh my gosh! And what I learned was how to ask AI in a way that it's not understanding that it's not Google, it's not search engine world, that it's different. And so instead, saying, "Hey, Claude, hey Gemini, whatever we're using here," and say. You are planning a. Now I'm drawing a blank. You are the executive
giving it
director.
a task.
Yeah. And so actually asking it to play a role, and so you tell it you are the executive director, and you of this organization. You name the organization so that it might be able to pull some stuff to help it do these things, and you get specific about what you want it to do. So let's say something really exciting, like what I want you to do is you are having to plan a 5-year strategic planning committee meeting, and we need some ideas. You need some ideas for agenda, how it's going to be run, what the ultimate end result is going to be, and such like this. And it's really cool. And then you start figuring out as you start asking it to play these roles that it starts coming up with some really cool stuff as it's pretending to be you or pretending to be me or whatever it is that you've asked it to do. And I think that's cool. And that's why I think it's funny as I was doing that. I'm like, my goodness, I have only been asking Marvin to go get tea because I've been having him fix my writing and I've been having him, give me some advice on how to say this better. Like one of my favorite ones is how can I say no in a nice way? And I give it a little detail to that.
Yeah. I call that my nice filter. In Notion AI that I use, there's a make it nicer button.
Nice.
I also call it the will button. Because it usually would like say it in a way that Will would say it to someone. That's the vibe.
That's cool.
I love you making this point though, Steve, because I was even just thinking of this in the past few days with you're out at dinner, somebody asks a question. Oh, let me look that up real quick. That moment. And I know a few folks who pull up GPT now to answer that question. I'm like, that's Marvin to get tea. And there's a consequence to that. We talked about that in a few episodes ago. You mentioned it in the prep that we were doing before we started hit record. But like that episode we did on environmental impact, right? Like save the penguins, folks. Like you don't need to ask GPT who the first president was or the 16th president, right? Like Google has that answer, and there's a much lower load or impact to the environment to ask that question of Google. Google will just answer that question for it. Anymore, too, they do have the AI answering, so you're practically
Gemini
asking an AI anyways. Anyway. But like, what you really want GPT for is what is the chemical composition of tea, and how can I recreate it with something else? You don't need to ask it to make you tea. You want to ask it crazy things that might help you understand tea better or use tea in a different way, right? Like it's not meant for the simple stuff. You want to really take on those big picture things. You mentioned personas, giving it a role or whatever. I love getting two personas at each other. Ooh. Like you tell it to like take a persona, take this persona, and then you have it ask itself questions.
Nice.
And you gotta put the right parameters around it, otherwise it gets a little hairy. But and that's not the name of the persona. But those are those things where it can really elevate it for you. Now, you're an executive director with the day job and the big wig stuff. Are you encouraging? I mean, it's a small wig. It's probably his hair. Are you?
I gotta get a better wig maker if this is a wig, man.
You paid for that?
Yeah.
Are you supporting kind of your organization and like your teams and stuff? Are you encouraging them to look into it? Is it something that you're being very cautious about? What's kind of that overall attitude towards AI?
Dave, where are you going, Dave? Did you try to turn
setting something up?
Sorry, if none of you have seen 2001 Space Odyssey, then you need to stop for a minute and go watch a certain scene with Dave, all right, and Al.
Yes, pause the episode, watch it, then come back, and all this context will make sense.
Here, I'll put a big pause icon on the screen with my editor right now.
It's like a choose your own adventure, except we choose it for them. You need to go down the side of the adventure, and then
very much so. Coming soon to a theater near you. So to answer that question, I encourage them. Right, we have several of the team that are experimenting with how they use it and learning more about it, and I want the whole organization to do the same thing, because originally, when they started talking about AI, I was of the mindset going, yeah, is this really AI? And matter of fact, if you go back and listen to some of my episodes when they first started coming out with ChatGPT and all that sort of stuff, I would ask a question. So is AI really AI? And I get people saying, well, of course. And I'd get others going, well, and it was just the, well, of course, where obviously I was realizing I'm irritating some people with my skepticism. I've come a long ways since then, because it's really cool. Because in those early days, it was interesting to see all the different people who were going, excuse me, that's my stuff. It's stealing my stuff to give to other people. Lawsuit, and when it was doing all that stuff that they were defining as scraping and stuff like this. And but since then, what's really cool is that when you start learning how to talk with it, as opposed to asking Marvin to get tea, you realize that it does have the ability to, oh my gosh, man, the example I gave, I have it helping me right now to design this strategic planning meeting, because we're gonna be creating the next 5-year plan for our organization, and so I have it helping me design that, and I'm doing it through the persona type thing. We're just asking it to be that person who's trying to create this strategy, this methodology for having a good strategic plan created. So I know as exciting that is for, but it's at the same time, going back to the reference that you made, I mean, the whole penguin thing was awesome because it really is understandable that way, because when you ask it to just go get tea, that's a lot of power you just used, man, to do something that you could have done by simply taking the box out of the cupboard and boiling water.
Boiling some water.
And for those little leaves, those little dried leaves that you needed to make into tea. But I've come a long way in it. And it's interesting because in education, you have, in the beginning, you had all these people who are afraid, oh my gosh, it's terrible. It's all this cheating is going to happen. And then you started getting some sanity returning to it. And then you got all these people going, oh my gosh, it's going to steal our jobs. And, now
there's a recurring theme.
Yes. So I'm a big Monty Python fan. All right. And I know this seems really random, but
I was just watching last week.
Nice. So I have to mention it this time. There is this cool episode where they do a running joke about the exploding penguins. All right.
Oh no.
And there's a penguin that appears on their TV sets. Do you have a penguin on your TV set? What? Anyway, you'll have to find those exploding penguin episodes.
Yeah, we inadvertently became a Monty Python episode.
Yes, you did. It's a running joke that they do that is just like, what in the world are they?
Penguin AI idea would solve that asking to make tea problem. People might think about it a second before they see a little penguin on a loading screen.
Exactly.
Just die before they ask.
It's AI saying, you've done me wrong, man. Now the penguins are coming after you.
Now they don't have tea.
I did pull a link for us and I put it in our show notes so we come back around to some exploding penguins. But here's one of those things that I think is interesting about this issue with it, with AI. Like you've already said earlier, like what is AI and what are we expecting of it? And like what would Marvin look like if Douglas Adams had a sense for our AI today? And I saw someone on LinkedIn even today saying like artificial AI does not mean automated intelligence. Or wow, I said that really weird. AI does not means artificial intelligence. It does not mean automated intelligence. There we go. I finally stumbled my way through that statement. Because one of the things that is happening is the internet is getting more automated altogether. Example, I just copied this YouTube link from that screen and I paste it into a software over here on this screen. And instead of it dropping text, or even hypertext, right? We're used to links like HTTPS, and it's clickable because text would be unclickable. Blue link would be clickable. Now it just put a little box there. It says youtube.com and I can hover over it. It shows me a little preview of what it is and I can click it. But like that's an example of the internet getting more and more automated.
Yeah, that's cool.
And everybody kind of assumes if it's automated, it's AI. Like there's this relationship now like, oh, automation is artificial. Artificial is automation. Like that's not true. The function of artificial intelligence is for it to process native or human language and respond accordingly. So not when I ask it for a peach does it talk about soccer. If I ask it for a peach, it says, how can I help you get that peach, right? This is artificial intelligence. Automation can do anything, right? And then we've had chat bots for decades, right? You ask it a certain question, it looks for a specific word, it pulls up a specific article. That's automation. And that's what so many people are driving towards right now. Meanwhile, we have Marvin in front of us, and nobody's aware of like what it is, why it's different, what its significance is. Because I think your use case, Steve, is a fantastic one. A thinking partner, right? Do you have access to an executive director you could call up tomorrow for lunch and like just spend 3 hours going through your agenda?
We were good until you got to the 3 hours thing.
yeah, right? You could probably grab lunch real quick. You might be able to talk for 30 minutes, but like, are they going to help you write your 5-year plan?
No.
And this symposium idea? Like, but this tool Marvin is available to you.
Very much so. And not only is he available for 3 hours, as long as you got the energy, he's there waiting for you to tell him, thanks, that was very helpful, but I need you to make it more silly or
nicer.
Yes.
Exactly. Well, that's where I've definitely found it the most helpful recently. For a bunch of different things, but like I literally caught myself the other day. I'm not writing like a strategic plan agenda, Steve, but I'm writing like an action plan thing basically for like a 2-year project that's going on. And I'm totally enjoying every second of it. That was sarcasm. But I had to rewrite some stuff on it. And I literally found myself, now I use like Notion AI a lot for doing this, but now Notion AI has got to the point where I can switch between GPT-5 and Claude instantly. Like it just switches between them for me when I'm writing. And so I've literally found myself with like the sidebar of the chatbot open at the same time. And I'm like, it's basically like I have a live editor and like thing to bounce ideas off of that like normally I would need another person to have that conversation with. And it's not perfect, but like it's definitely like I'm literally writing sections and then having it like rework different sections or evaluate it for holes or things like that. And then I'm making my own kind of human calls off of what is actually going to work versus not. But it is interesting. I think I've really enjoyed that dynamic of like having something to bounce this dynamic off of just being able to like kind of go back and forth with and kind of rework stuff. And it definitely speeding up my ability to do that, because normally I would sit there looking at that page for forever trying to rewrite whatever that thing is, because I'd think about every stupid word on that page for like 18 billion years and get stuck in my own way of thinking of writing. I think that's the thing that's really been helpful for me in these types of things.
And I hear exactly what you're talking about, because I'm on that planet too. It gets me unstuck from being stuck on things that it's like, why am I stuck here? Well, it's because you noticed that there was an article about how Halloween keeps getting earlier and earlier in the year, or the Christmas, they've already got Christmas going at, June 1st or something like this. And I thought that was an interesting article that was written. I just found it. It was written in 1928 or something like that. Now, what I'm just telling you is something that when I did research in college, I actually discovered something like this. And I was talking to my professor and he said, would you stay? Is that your topic? Oh, no. But it was cool.
I was interested in it.
Yeah.
I worked as a writing tutor for, 5, 6, 7 years. I was an undergrad, and then I kept doing it once I graduated as a contractor. And I tell you, like, the first 2 questions that I pretty much asked every person who walked in, because I was always the same needs. What's your topic? Give me your instructions. Let's start there. And where are you? Right? Where are you in the process? Like, I need you to give me the instructions so I know what's required here, but then I need you to tell me, how far have you gotten? And 80, 90%, 99% of the time, it was like, oh, I don't know, a sentence. It's like, I get it. Starting is the hard part. And so I was the human who spent that time side by side with people, helping them take that first step. I think it's actually maybe even an accessibility issue. I think it's almost a potential human development issue to have a tool available like Claude, GPT, etc., Gemini, that can help you take that first step on your own. Because I whenever we talk about AI, I try to bring back some sort of metaphor and analogy, because there's a lot of folks who are just antagonistic. Honestly, respect. I have no problem with people who are antagonistic.
I don't know what you're talking about either. The world is a very understanding and level-headed place.
I don't like it either. I just
with
use
generally
it
mild
useful.
Opinions.
It's very mild, very mild.
Generally mild. But to me, it's like in an artist's context, right? To mix paint is a skill. To mix different colors to get a new color, and I will level with you. I'm not even going to joke. I'm not even going to try to come up with colors. I have no color sense, right?
I was really curious where this was going to keep going. I'm going to
red and blue equals purple. Red and blue equals purple, I think.
Yeah, that sounds right.
That's not the point.
It sounds right.
In the analogy, we have artists who are so good at that they look at, I have tattoos and stuff. I love when my artists are like, oh, okay, you want it green, all right, but what if it was, and they just go, boop, 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 and they put a few things together, and then suddenly it's a brand new color. And it's just, for them, it's like beat, done, right? There's not a long thinking process. It's not difficult. And yet that takes a lot of skill. It takes a lot of practice. If you give me Photoshop, I can give you any color you want. I can use a tool, a technology with Photoshop to color pick the entire world around me, right? I could take a photo of something and get the color out of the photo. I could take a screenshot of my desktop and get a color out of that. Like, I can use a tool and I can get it like that. But I personally don't have the skills or understanding to do that color mixing. Is one morally good or bad? I don't believe either of those tasks, whether you're doing it by hand or using a tool like Photoshop to accomplish the color. I don't think there's a moral question there, but there are people who would suggest that there might be a better quality in the person who's able to do the hand mixing and use their eye and use their practice and sense for it. But to me, this is part of what we're dealing with AI. Like, you could, Steve, you're an executive director. I've looked at your resume. You've been doing it for a minute. You could do this. You know how to do this. You've had to do this before. And yet that AI is getting you so much quicker to your first iteration, where then you can take that launch pad and start to work even more quickly and in more depth on the subject. Whereas it might take you 5 weeks to get your first draft before, you've got your first draft in 5 hours. And now you can take 5 weeks to make it better and better and get peer review and all the others. Not to say you're doing that, whatever. But I like to think about it in that sense, because people will just immediately discredit AI and say, well, Steve, you didn't really do the work. You know how to do it. Just like a digital artist who's also a physical artist could use Photoshop to pull the color. They know how to make the color themselves, but they can still use Photoshop to pull the color. Does it make them any less of an artist? I don't believe so. Now, we're not going to touch if they just used a prompt to generate the picture completely. We'll go. That's a separate topic, but I get off my little soapbox here because I think that that's an important distinction or important comparison when wrestling with this. Do you feel similarly? Do you have certain like wrestling points with the philosophy or like the morals of doing this?
You know, the other day I had to buy a new monitor because I threw it to the ground. Never mind. I was
Same.
wrestling with the idea. Anyway, but it's really cool because I've taught strategic planning. Okay, let's just run with this for a minute. I've taught strategic planning. I've helped school systems do their strategic planning, and so the answer to your question is yes, I could do that, and it takes time. You lay this out, and what dawned on me is it'd be cool to have AI play the role of the expert, and they come up with how to do it. And I literally, in less than an hour, I had an incredible plan in front of me that I'm now tweaking. That's a scientific term.
A measured amount of adjustment.
There you go.
Yes,
A
tweak. Exactly.
Not to
tweak.
There you go. Not to be confused with Twicky, who was a character in the 1970s Buck Rogers. But hey, I digress.
And here I thought you were going to go to tweaking the response that a chemical drug addict has when they don't have their drugs.
I thought he was going to go to twerking, personally. That was the direction I was waiting to see which
direction. I loved all of our interpretations.
Great interpretations there. Meanwhile, AI is going, oh my gosh, brain the size of the universe, and they're talking about tweaking and twerking. But what I love is being able to have that conversation because it helps you come up with a better approach to some things, all right? Because then you can choose, you use the brain as you're getting these ideas from it to say, that's good, that's not on the same planet I'm going, and this would be good to go to that direction. You know, I don't know if that sounds like babbling or not, but to me, what you're saying there is that there is a lot of fear out there that everybody's going to become real lazy and you're going to be, I understand that, and I know this is going to sound out there, but I've already done that a couple of times. So here we go again. But yeah, they're getting ready to make, the script has been accepted for a live action, people, not a cartoon, Jetsons movie. All
okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And I love
I haven't heard this.
And I love this. And I'm hoping that it does come true. All right. Because this would be so cool. I've always wanted a Jetsons movie. You know, the Flintstones movies, I always wanted them, and they didn't quite hit the mark, although it was.
Yeah.
But especially the second one, we'll not talk about the second one, but
there was a sequel.
Yes, there was a sequel with different actors. But my point is that if you've ever watched the Jetsons, George has a job where all he does is he reports and he pushes one button. That's all he does all day. He pushes one button all day long. And I don't believe that's the direction we're headed with this. I think instead where we're going, if you use it the right way, is to challenge our thoughts about how we can make a more complicated system, or we can make something work for us in the manner in which we needed it to work because we know who we're working with. But I do wish that AI argued with you. And excuse me, what are you doing? I already gave you an idea. That's wrong. Don't do that.
Okay,
It
see,
is,
I
it is
have
getting
had that
overly.
happen.
Oh yeah, that's right. You and a sassy AI. I forgot about this. that argued with you a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that about again? It was
Gosh, we'd have to go back 10 episodes.
yeah,
to
it's
find
in an
it.
episode somewhere.
It was something that just the effect where like I was trying to get something done, and it's just like, are you really sure that's the way you want to do it? And I was like, yo,
Are you sure you were
Sassonatic.
talking to AI and it wasn't just like Marissa on a chat on the other side, like responding to you? No, I was Steve on this one. Okay, AI has been getting overly polite. I need it to push back a little bit. Okay, because sometimes it's always every time it'll be like, even when I'm telling it it's wrong, which I've had to happen. I was telling Will this the other day. I uploaded a 140-page PDF. Steve, it was a bad idea. It was actually ended up turning out well at the end. I was trying to replace a position, and I decided to take the job description, and then my team does like three what we call work check-ins during the week, which basically they just like report back what they've been dealing with that week, that type of thing. And so I have like literally pages and pages of check-ins from people doing this job. So I was like, I'm gonna take this 140 pages of check-ins, I'm going to upload it into GPT, and I'm going to upload the job description, and I'm going to have it compare the job description that hadn't been updated in a couple of years against the check-ins to see, does it find anything? And it eventually worked out, Steve. It did. It was actually very helpful towards the end. But when I first did it, it responded back way too quickly. Like, just way too fast. Like, I was like, there's no way that this robot read this 140-page PDF. And as I'm looking through the things it's saying that my team does, that it's missing, it's like, they are often checking printers. See, here's the thing. My team has not checked a printer once in the 7 years I have been there. So I was like, nobody's checking printers. So I was like, you didn't read the PDF. You need to read the PDF.
Call it out.
I'm like, I called it out. And it's just too polite. Okay? It responds back and it's like, you're right. That's such a wonderful observation. I was like, it's not a wonderful observation. You're wrong.
You suck.
I was like,
Instead of Marvin, you got somebody else.
Yeah, Marvin the depressed one.
yeah,
He got,
Marvin,
like,
Marvin the depressed
happy-go-lucky.
and asleep AI. It was literally. It also then just gave an explanation of why it didn't read the PDF. I forget what it was, but the explanation.
Not only did it apologize, it explained itself.
That's what it did, and the answer was basically like it was too hard to read it. Like that was the explanation.
Same.
That's funny to me. To be honest with you, I gave up reading it after page 1, so therefore it's boring, and I'm not going to do it. So,
Your team works with printers.
yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Anyway, I want more attitude, but I want to transition us for a hot second here because I think this has been a really helpful conversation here, Steve, about this dynamic. What I want to ask you is, reversing it for a hot second, is there anything about AI that you're still kind of like, I don't know that I'm a fan of, or I'm unsure of, like especially how it impacts with education? Because this is my curiosity. Because I agree with you. Like Will and I have been talking about AI a lot on the podcast, mainly as we keep joking, because if people want us to stop talking about it, they need to stop listening to those episodes the most out of all of our other episodes. But
It's very simple. Don't listen, all right?
Don't listen and we'll talk about something else. It's very simple. But what I'm very interested in is, like, I've seen the overly critical perspectives, right? Like I talk about this in the podcast. Like in my work right now, I got the joy of being put in charge of project managing an AI task force for a higher ed institution, which, as I'm sure you can imagine, has made my inbox totally not filled with like reasons people are unhappy about AI. And so I've heard the like just overly critical ones, but what I am curious is, from those of us who aren't on the overly critical side, who are using it, what are the things that still concern you? Like, what are the things, especially in education, that are like, I'm still not sure about this when it comes to AI?
So one of the things I have to say here is, I'm sorry, because all of a sudden I noticed, Will, you have a picture on your wall behind you.
Deep cut. Well done. We talked about that in prep. That's 50 minutes ago we brought that up, and he pulls it out at the 45-minute mark.
I waited long enough to.
He's been holding on to that for so long. He's been waiting for the perfect time to just pull it in.
Just go listen to episode 220, the episode right before this. Josh and I spent 15 minutes on this painting. Oh my gosh, Steve. Wow. Well done.
It just seemed like it was like the right opportunity to bring that up. So when you talk about using technology, period, I think one of the things that what bothers me in education is when we start thinking that technology is the solution to everything. And all you have to do is look what children are doing, and not just children, adults. You walk out of a building and you look to your left and you look to your right, and there's people looking at their phones. And it's like, I'm really glad the bus is not here yet, because it's going to run over every one of you as soon as it does. Yep. I think that if the technology, if everything is supposed to be the solution, because it's just like, I have to say this, people who think that you don't think when you talk with AI, you have to think. You have to know how to think. You have to know how to talk with it. Otherwise, it comes up with interesting answers that are like, that's not exactly what I was thinking about right there. But hey, thank you very much. And can I get a different AI? Hello.
Like if Josh just listened to it saying that his team used printers and just moved on. Yes. If he didn't check it or think about that a second, it's like, wait, what?
Submit a report that says your job description says you use printers from now on. So.
And that's the day we became printer maintenance people. That was the job. Just like nobody questioned it.
Yeah, and I think that my answer to this is that I just think that we have to be looking at what we're looking for in the use of AI and the technology, because there's a lot of people that are very smart people and they create some really cool things, but you start wondering, is this really what I'm looking for? Is this really what I need? And instead you could have a conversation with somebody who is not real, the AI, about, ideas, and you could start getting those nerve cells in motion up in your brain as you're having this conversation with the invisible man next to you, or whatever you want to refer to him as. And, and your version of Marvin, to go back to my original thought, I think that the most annoying thing to me is that there are we get into this world that everything is about technology, and we forget that you have this brain, that we're not George Jetson. We're not just pushing the button. We have a conversation with this really cool, what would you refer to AI as? A learning, it's looking for patterns. It's looking for solutions. I mean, because it's not how, asking Dave, I know that you're trying to unplug me.
well, it's had those issues too.
Yes.
You make a good point though. Like one of Josh and my pretty regular activities, I don't actually go as consistently, I think, as he does it, but it's just board game night, right? And this is like anywhere from 4 to 7, 8 people who get together, put their phones down and pull out physical board games. Nice. Right? And it is refreshing.
It is.
You're right. You go down to the mall or something and people are just sitting there. You're going to a place where your intention is to go into stores, look at things, take active engagement with your environment, maybe shop, maybe buy, maybe eat. And they're sitting down on their phones in the mall.
Very nice.
Go home, get on Amazon.
Okay, first of all, to the defense of those people, those are clearly all the board husbands.
No, do not defend them.
They're clearly all the board husbands that are there. Okay, there are two categories of people in the mall. There are people who came there, and there are people who thought they were going somewhere else, and they ended up at a mall. Okay, let's just be very clear. No, I agree. I think it's interesting. That's where you focus, Steve, because I think that's an important point, which is, in my frustration, is the side that's often overly critical. I sometimes think they're missing the bigger point of what's actually going on here, is that the technology can become overly the focus. Now, I don't argue that it should, there are people that even in my space that will argue in education, technology should just all be in the background. And I have my own opinions about that perspective, because I argue that the tech that you use also shapes what happens. So it can never really fully be in the background. It has to be carefully considered. But it also just shouldn't be the central focus. It's not just going to fix everything. It's not going to just become better and change what you're looking at. It's funny. I was recently talking with somebody about this, of being like, I think we're often asking the wrong questions when we're coming to AI, which is not like, will AI make us dumber, or will AI ruin education, or will AI, do this or do this? All of those things are possibilities. The question we should be asking is like, who do we want us and our students to become at the end of the day through education? Yes. And so what about AI is going to get us there? And what about AI is going to not get us there? What is going to undercut, or what type of uses are going to not get us there? Just pulling out that they did printers is a perfect example of how AI is not going to get us there. But I think like the things you and I are describing here about how you and I have been using AI in these dynamics with your strategic planning and my kind of project management side, both of us have expertise in these areas. And we both are critically thinking about everything the AI model is doing in what we're doing. We're just having it help us jump stages. We're also helping it get us out of our own thinking in ways that we can't always do by ourselves. And like, to your point, that is all critical thinking. You have to use your brain in doing all of that. And so I think that's, I don't know. I think that's a helpful dynamic to think of when you're looking at AI.
I think it is too. I think that it challenges me to look at it from a different perspective, because it's going to throw out some things that maybe I hadn't thought of. And, as you start looking at it and go, that's actually a pretty cool response there. And so what's funny is when you mentioned the job description, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're on the same planet, because I've been using it to help me figure out how to change. I got some job descriptions that haven't been written. I'm pretty sure maybe there was a guy named Johnson in the White House.
LBJ.
Wow. Well, I was thinking the earlier Johnson, the first.
Yeah. Well, these aren't even in Microsoft Word. They're still paper.
Yeah.
Sorry, the history teacher. Meanwhile, back on the ranch.
You can take me to a lesson on that some other time. I'll ask ChatGPT.
But LBJ, that was a good one. But anyway, the point is we have. I just think that people are being so critical, because my major criticism of it is this, which is it's not really of AI. It's of people thinking that it needs to be in charge of things.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you want to scare me into tomorrow? I mean, start thinking about Skynet or something like that, because, for those of you Terminator people out there, and it's one of those things that, if you put it in charge of things, is it going to make a decision that humans are nonsensical? We don't need them around anymore. Push the button, man.
Yep.
Or convincing
I think we're
people.
a long time from that dramatic issue, but you're not wrong on the steps it'll take getting there, right? Yeah. If we have the AI just making our coffees, right, it's gonna have problems making our coffees, because we joke about how like we're underutilizing, or maybe we're using Marvin the wrong way. But like, if you put our available technologies together today and had it making our tea, I bet you people are going to get burnt. People are going to get bad tasting stuff. Like it's not there, folks.
Which never happens with humans. We usually make tea perfectly. Sorry, that was my immediate thought. But no, I get your point, right? Like Steve, taking off the coffee or the analogy, like Steve, I've literally been in context like where I've seen institutions talking about using it to have AI basically entirely run the admissions and enrollment process for a higher ed institution. That is like mind-blowingly terrifying to me.
Really is.
Because you're dealing with financial stuff, you're dealing with advising students in their careers and what they're going to be doing. It's interesting that you say that. I think that's I think we could take a healthy dose of slowing down a little bit in the way that we're proposing to use it. Because I think, to your point, what we're doing is we're throwing technology, like we usually do, into the space where we're thinking, if we just use this new thing now, we finally will achieve that utopia that we thought was going to happen. And when has that ever happened? Like they have said that about every step of technology, and I still can't get a coffee that's the perfect temperature. That's all. That's all I want.
We have everything we need to do it, and yet we still can't deliver. So
yeah,
it's funny. It's what you're talking about is so right on. It is not a living, breathing thing, so it does not know what coffee tastes like. You can describe it all you want to. And, what's funny is I really think this is an episode of the original Star Trek series that we're talking about right here. And Spock confuses the computer because it doesn't really know what it's talking about. Anyway.
Yeah.
I'm flashing back now. So, back to...
I think we've covered all of the nerd... not all, but we've covered...
Oh, we've got plenty
so many nerd
things. We have
every time we do an episode, we do this. I love it.
Yeah, it's been great. Steve, I could sit here and talk to you about this for much longer, but I think we'll call this for now where we're at. I've appreciated this conversation. I think it's been helpful to hear how you're using it, and it's affirming, I think, some things for Will and I about some of the stuff we've been talking about over the last couple months. But I think at the end of the day, all of us are basically saying to people of there are uses for it, and it's being cautious about how we use it, thinking carefully. But also thinking carefully enough not to just write it off into this world of evil of where it's at. It's a tool that can be used into what we're doing. So, Steve, again, man, thank you for joining us on the episode. It is always a blast having you on here.
Thanks. This is fun, guys. Thanks so much for having me back. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. So, as a reminder, everybody, you can find us on the socials, the internet. We are there. If you ask ChatGPT, it might be able to tell you, but don't kill a penguin to find us. Just use Google. You can find us at High Tech Podcast or at High Tech Pod. You can email us, inbox at hightechpod.us. If you have something negative to say, you just head over to that Stephen Miletto website we shared earlier. No,
Thanks.
That's why we don't have a review us button, Steve.
Yeah, that's why us button. Actually, if they click it just goes straight to your podcast.
That's what I was gonna say. Nice.
Anyway, no, you can email us at inbox at hightechpod.us if you'd like to be on the podcast. You'd like to tell us what your thoughts are. You'd like to tell us your favorite cup of coffee. I don't know. Whatever you'd like to do, you can hit us up there, and will answer. I won't. You can also email, find our website, hightechpod.us, where we'll put all fun show notes and things like that. We'll also link out to Steve's podcast here and stuff he's doing. So check that out. Anyway, all right, folks, that's a wrap on another week. Empowering minds.
Embracing tech. Cheers.
Cheers.
Buckle up.